let's talk about the albums for the month, and I think there's some pretty big names coming up here.
Yes, indeed.
We got om&m dropping their album Tether.
What number is this for them? Like 8 or something? Is it that many? I feel like it's not.
100 at this point.
Maybe it's not that many.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
If we're not counting any dupes, I think this is album 7,
Wow,
6.
My second
it's
of
up there.
om&m album. Only my second.
No, this is
It's
8.
up there.
This is number 8.
Yeah, this is 8.
Huh. It's a lot one way or the other.
It's like their 5th with Aaron Pauli on vocals, I think, or 4th.
Point being, this band's been around for a while.
Just going back and forth on how many fucking vocalists and albums they've had.
Yeah. I'll start by saying that I think this is going to be one of the albums I'm going to underappreciate the most this year. I think this album is going to be undeservedly, I'm disrespecting this album for how little I have to say about it. Because I really don't have very much to say about it. I'm sure you guys are going to say a lot of the things I would want to say. But I did not spend very much time with this album. Even though I would go back to a handful of songs and be like, yeah, this is really good. And I think more consistent than Echo. It just doesn't really hit the same peaks.
I want to put a statement out there. And I want to see how it's received.
Okay.
This is indistinguishable from the Jamie's Elsewhere EP.
No.
No?
I'm going to disagree on that one. Because this is at least a little more memorable than that EP.
This is a lot more memorable, and Jamie's Elsewhere had a lot more electronic. You get a lot more of the heavier vocals.
I don't even see the comparison, honestly.
Really?
Other than Aaron Pauli.
Yeah.
I mean, in the style of music.
Really?
I feel like, yeah. I feel like you could change any of these in with any of the Jamie's Elsewhere songs except for one. I don't know.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Is this better than Echo?
No.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Fuck no. It's not even close.
It is 100 times better than Echo.
Agreed.
I am 50-50.
This is a great album that is half the album Echo was.
No.
That's my take. Bad take, apparently.
I think Echo. It doesn't help that it was released as all singles. Which makes it feel like a bunch of singles, which I guess works. I like the what I remember from Echo is basically what was it called? The Bloom EP. That was I think the EPs worked better. And I don't think Echo needed to be necessarily a thing. But talking about
Derek
this
is in
album
pain right now.
It's okay. I respect it.
I believe Mice and Men are going in a direction I really, really, really like. It's so close to being it's so close to being Color Decay level for me, actually. It's just missing one thing, and I feel like it's a closer Cancer almost Zephyros doesn't feel like a closer. It just feels like another song to me. So it leaves me wanting more at the end of the album.
I don't feel like Integration is that great of an opener either. Which is don't get me wrong. I like Integration. I just feel like when I listen to it in the context of the rest of the album, I don't feel like it really distinguishes itself all that much. Maybe that's another bad take. I don't know. I think yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like this is very it's a very good album, but it operates like if you were to like take like this song as like this is gonna make no fucking sense. If you take the song and were to turn it into like a wavelength, it would be stuck between the like 6 and 9 range, maybe even 7 and 9, in the sense that it never dips very low, but it never gets very high. And I feel like to that extent, like a lot of this album comes off as very one-noted at times, that like it's like you almost took at points for me the same song and rehashed it into something else, and, like scrambled it and made it into a new song, but it still sounds like some of the other ones. And there's like a point where it's cohesion and a point where it's like I feel like I've already heard this song already. And so I think to me that's why I like songs like Shiver and Tether, which are my two favorites on here. I feel like those do their very good individual thing. And I liked a lot more songs on here. I mean, I think it's a great album, but I don't know. It's missing that same cohesion that I felt Echo had, and the same like dips and highs that it had.
See, I feel like it has the cohesion, but it just doesn't. It can't finish. It's like,
yeah.
It's so close to being like a top 10 album of all time. I'm not even like joking here. Like it's everything flows so nicely together, but it just can't finish. And like lyrically, like this album is about like rebuilding yourself to what's the word I'm looking for? Rebuilding yourself to be there for someone when you know you can't really do anything for them, but just being their tether, essentially. I think it's portrayed beautifully, especially in the song Tether. That's my favorite song.
Tether is a fantastic song.
I think that is by far the best song on the album. And I don't know if you guys did the little test they had. They had like what are these? What is the thing on the cover called again? What is
Rorschach?
Rorschach ink plot.
Yeah, ink plot. That's what it's called. I did the test on their website when the album came out. I forget what it was. Before I even listened to it, and it's like it asks you a bunch of questions, and it's like, oh, which song are you on the album? And I answered all the questions, and it's like, you're Tether. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go listen to the album now. Immediately, my favorite song is Tether, so I was like, okay. That's kind of weird.
They cooking something on that website formula test thing.
That AI is I don't know if it's AI or not, but it was kind of creepy, but it was also kind of cool at the same time.
I'm gonna have to give this album at least like 2 more listens before the end of the year.
That's where I'm at.
I want to read lyrics. Come on, website load.
While you're pulling up the website,
I need just to
get my opinion in. This is about best album since Defy.
I think this is their best album. I'll say their best album with Aaron on vocals. That's what I'll say.
Aaron on vocals, I'll agree. There was mentioning a lot then. It was hard to kind of find a cohesion with this. That's how I felt with Echo, especially with Echo being like 3 or 4 different EPs with one single put in together. I liked this release structure a lot more. It gave me a lot of time to actually appreciate each of the singles as their own, instead of them sitting for a while and then finally coming back to it. Loved Integration, Enraptured, Tether, but my favorite's got to be Shiver.
That's my number 2.
Shiver is a phenomenal song. It's about anxiety and sleep deprivation. Starting off with the lyrics just saying, I've declared war on counting sheep and memories that play on repeat, where the infinite and the finite meet. I talk to the ceiling, but it doesn't speak another message in a bottle drifting out to sea, and the silence is a wave brushing us beneath. The lyrics in the chorus are also beautiful too. Like, do you shiver and shake when the sun begins to fade and lie awake, hoping everything's okay, praying for a better day, then I want you to know you're not alone. It's fucking phenomenal song. I am confident in saying that this is probably my favorite om&m album. It has a lot.
You know what? I think so too. As like a whole,
it's a lot more consistent than a lot of the other albums. My problem with Echo was, I didn't care enough about like 2 songs out of 3 from each EP, and then putting them all on the album. You know, I only liked bits and pieces of the album, so I didn't like a lot of the album all that much. Even though that album as a whole was like number 7 of my top 10 last year.
Also,
it was still on there.
Also, like lyrically, how it starts like with integration to around Eternal Pessimist. It's all internal, like lyrically. I'm talking about. It's all like internal struggles, and then as we progress, like as into the sun, it becomes more external. Like he's trying to help his, in this case, significant other, I think.
I like the Zephyros being the closer in that instance that you mentioned, because it feels like
lyrically I think it works. Sonically for me, I don't think it does.
Yeah, but I mean, this album's more or less just trying to like tell like a piece of story, and I think it works. Sonically, I can agree with, you know, Indigo was one of the ones I didn't add, and neither was Zephyros.
Oh, I love your Indigo.
Indigo's good.
That was the lyrics I was going to read from. Now I'm not going to read it. No, I'm just kidding. It literally sounds like he's like fucking high when he's writing. When I read these lyrics, it's like, I want to know why the sea reflects the sky, why we live, why we love, and why we die. What a sunset looks from the other side. I want to know why the sea reflects the sky.
I guess it's more or less just like questioning why, like, status quo.
Yeah, I also just love the imagery like it puts in your head. It reminds me a lot of what song is that on? I think it is Spiderhead from The Act by The Devil Wears Prada. The crazy imagery.
Probably.
Maybe. Pretty sure it's Spiderhead. Is that the closer?
All this is saying, you know, I think om&m are on the right game right now.
As I said when we first started talking, I think this is one of the albums that I am disrespecting the most, or have disrespected the most this entire year. Because, like, realistically, this is a great album that I basically I added everything to my playlist and never went back to. Because, like, every time I would listen to it, it just never left a mark. I can't explain why. It just... Whereas at least with Echo, there were songs like Obsolete and Pulling Teeth that gave me something to want to go back to. The most that I really got with this album was Warpaint as the lead single, which is still my favorite song on here. Like, everything else on here is good. It just, to me, it all just kind of blends together and doesn't do much for me, which is a shame. I should like this a lot more than I do. I don't know.
I also really love the artwork.
I do like the artwork
is pretty good.
It's so cool.
The color scheme for like this album and everything is just
awesome. and like the color scheme, it fits with the album, kind of like Color Decay's album makes you feel as well. Honest, like album cover. I'm making a lot of comparisons here. Maybe that might be a hint.